Hello. Yeah, so hi everyone. We're just going to jump in. It's going to be a very casual stream. We've got Joe with me, that guy Wookie, who's our, as you can see, things moving around because I can see the name is already out. Is our new general manager, and yeah, we're just going to be running through the review, which a number of people have done. I think we've got 42 applications, but if you haven't filled it out and you do want to sort of get your opinion across, feel free to jump in and or jump in chat really and have a discussion, and we can go from there. So it's generally going to be running through the review, seeing what yeah. Oh, we've got to donate as well. Yeah, we'll have to. Awesome. We'll have to switch some of the stuff up, but yeah, it's really going to be a case of yeah, just going through and yeah, seeing how we can improve the community, how we can sort of any ideas you guys have, how we can sort of implement them, and yeah, looking at developing it. And this is a sort of a new way really we can engage with the community and sort of yeah, see if we can sort of help and assist. And I've got sort of Joe here as well, who can sort of help out and yeah, sort of any ideas can come to him as well. So yeah, if you do have any ideas, the process is drop a message, tag either me or Joe, that guy Wookie, in the feedback and ideas chat. And what we'll do is, following your question, it'll be better if you guys can sort of jump in, ask it yourself, and yeah, we can have a real sort of a conversation about it then, and yeah, just run through. So if you're good, Joe, we'll jump straight into the first, I'm first one. So hopefully this will look all right. So hopefully you guys can see, you can see the EsportsWales review, and the sort of these are the answers which we've had in. So as I said, we've had 42 responses, and we'll run through sort of each question, just really sort of discussing yeah, looking at sort of the whole organization. It's broken down into the divisions, and then there's a few sort of questions about yourself and things like that. So we're going to be using this to sort of go out for funding, for revenue streams, but it's also going to be looking at things, the ways we can improve the community, or ways sort of nights are run. I haven't read all of these. I had a quick flick through just after work today. But yeah, it's sort of, this is fresh stuff. I don't know if you've seen any of these yourself, Joe?
Yeah, I did take a quick look through once I got the form over, and I got about halfway through. Cool.
Is there anything which sort of stands out for you, which you're surprised, or we'll work through?
So far, I think I'm not sure what's going on with the games to help your well-being. I think that one's a little bit broken.
Okay.
But I think the esports. Do you think EsportsWales doesn't have to support women in gaming was a little bit surprising. It's kind of split, so 70 or 69% were for yes, 31% for no. So maybe that's something we can try and work on more.
Yeah. Okay. Let's get cracking anyway, and we'll work through the questions, and any of like those we'll come across, and you guys can sort of see those answers and comment as we go through. And it's good to see we've got a question already in, so we'll come through those as well. Right, so age groups, it's pretty I think everyone would kind of expect this. It's, yeah, we're looking at, was it higher percentage of the younger generation as such. I can say that because I'm up here in the blue. Joe's all right sort of thing, but yeah, we've got... this is a combination of questions from the chat, which people can jump in, and it's also reviewing the survey really. So it's going through, and if you have any questions, we'll sort of try and bring people in through them as sort of, you know, as the sort of needs. There is a feedback in the channel, which yeah, if people chuck the questions in there, we can bring them on and it'll flow a bit better. Yeah, so describe gender. As you can see, the majority of the people who have completed the form, and it looks like the majority of people in EsportsWales are male. and yeah, well, I guess identify as male, and yeah, it's sort of thing. So it's kind of what I guess we expected, because this is across the board really in the gaming industry as such, and you know, we sort of, while we are open for everyone, it's it sort of reflects that really.
Predominant at the moment, yeah.
Generally looks like, which is kind of, I think, what we kind of expect again, which is great to see with Rob in chat that I don't know if any of you saw the Twitter post today that we've got a new director. So Rob has joined the advisory board of EsportsWales, who's based in North Wales, to help us sort of develop and focus the scene up in North Wales. And you can see sort of the majority of people who've completed this form are sort of, well, you've got some not living in Wales, but you've got sort of Cardiff based, and then, you know, Carmarthen, funny enough, Caerphilly, Bridgend, Merthyr, Rhondda. So most of them are South Wales based. Caerphilly there is, you know, you've Wrexham, Conway. So you do have a few North Wales, but the majority of them does seem to be sort of on the sort of South Wales side, which I think is because the way we've been developing things really over the thing, a lot of the sort of events and stuff we've held has been sort of South Wales based, going Blonde Cardiff, Talking Surf when that was running, Arcade Vaults, you know, they have been based in Cardiff, and you can see why sort of the majority of community there, and the majority of the university scene is down here with, you know, Cardiff, Swansea, well, two in Cardiff, Swansea, USW and things like that. Yeah, moving on. Nationality, funny enough, most of these answers are Welsh.
Welsh, yeah.
Which I guess we'd expect. Now moves us on to the mental health one. It's a case of sort of, I know, especially during lockdown, you know, some people that, you know, it has been difficult, and it's depending, like, some people would see mental health, like there was an article out not so long ago about how sort of gaming can improve mental health, and sort of I find especially gaming within a sort of a community, or sort of team-based games is quite good, where you could just chat into people most evenings and things like that, whether it's co-op or team-based. You can see that there are people in the community which do suffer with mental health issues, and we've got a question further on to sort of see how that really sort of that benefits, and sort of if we can do anything which will help. I have spoken to Mind in the past, the charity, and we do have a mental health channel with a few links in there for a number of things. But yeah, there will sort of, if we move on and sort of see, like people have said, what games do you find helps their well-being? So
yeah,
111.
This was the question, I think, that is a little bit broken, because all of them have just got one answer across the board.
Yeah, well, that's just how people have written the answer in. I think it's just the way it's displayed on the form.
Yeah, I see how it's been displayed.
But like some of these are esports titles which we do run. I've seen 2 for Call of Duty, Among Us, Counter-Strike, Valorant. GTA, I don't think we've run anything with GTA, but you know, you've got Cold War, Rocket League. There's 2 for F1, another one for F1, FIFA, COD as well. League of Legends, COD, so, yeah, group games, as I said. So there's a lot of esports titles here. That's one. I would say League of Legends, but yeah, I definitely feel that, especially if you're playing against Team or Top or against the Yi.
Yeah, I know the pain.
Yeah, League of Legends, Final Fantasy, Monster Hunter, Minecraft. We do still have a Minecraft server. If anyone does want to join that, I think it's tagged to the Minecraft channel, which people are free to ship on, and link there. Apex Legends we run, but we're not running a team. Valorant, Overwatch, we're running. We are looking for a game manager for Overwatch if anyone's interested in doing that role.
Yep, we also have plenty of player spots open. Valorant we need more people for as well at the moment.
Yeah. Rocket League, single player games. Stardew Valley, there was a few 2 for there.
Yeah, I did see.
Maybe we need to start a Stardew Valley channel. Or a Stardew Valley night to get everyone playing Stardew Valley.
Yeah.
Whatever I feel like playing, that's fair enough. Minecraft again. So we've had a few for Minecraft, story games, and yes. So it's. But the good thing is like when we've asked sort of what games people find help their well-being, there is a lot of sort of focus on the esports titles which we're looking to run. So hopefully as well, if we can get a few of the other games in there as well, like the Minecraft, Stardew Valley, maybe community night, and sort of looking. Sort of putting those on, and grow the community, and sort of allow sort of people to have some sort of chill games together.
I was wondering if maybe it might be worth putting in polls, like each week we have a community night dedicated to a poll, so people can kind of vote on what they fancy that week. Like just put a list of games in as options and see what comes out.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I think it may be difficult to run because we do find sometimes that getting sort of people stepping up to run those nights, if we can't run them ourselves, we sometimes struggle with that. So, yeah, but I do think it's a good idea. I'm not sure how sort of chat feels about that, whether having maybe like a vote system. Maybe if we put out something like these are the ones we're looking to run, and then a vote going out to sort of the chat and saying, which would you want us to run? Like a Minecraft server, a Stardew Valley night, or something else, and sort of something which we can do with that. Yeah, so
there's a few yeses in chat, so
that's cool.
Might be worth looking into.
Yeah. So that sounds like a good idea. I'm following this. I'll write sort of a list on sort of some of the sort of things which we learned from it, some of the ideas and stuff, and we'll sort of try and implement them or sort of build them into the plan going forward. Just asking if people do want to join, or I've asked questions, if they join the review channel on Discord, what we can do then is we can add you into this chat channel. So so we can sort of link you up and you can ask those questions then to us sort of directly. So moving on, how can we support your mental health better? Again, it's a similar sort of thing. So these create more tournaments, COD, League of Legends, group sessions, gaming lounge. I'm not sure what people mean by gaming lounge. Are they sort of we don't know. These are all anonymous, so we don't know who asked these questions. But is that something, do you think, related to something like Belong Cardiff when it used to be there? Or is this sort of gaming lounges?
Kind of, that kind of thing.
Yeah. So it potentially we look at doing those. There's a number of sort of venues around the country which we can do meetups at. It's something which we want to do. Of course, we sort of, due to restrictions, this is it's limited at the moment. But after those restrictions, or when they get relaxed, we can definitely look at doing that. And I think the way the community's grown over the last year, we should get a good turnout for some of these events.
I know Kelly said she was eager once restrictions are lifted to get Esports Wales back into Belong in Cardiff and get some more events and that going with the community.
Sounds good. Cool. Perhaps channel with links or opportunities to connect and talk to tokens with support. We have got a channel within Discord, which is a well-being and fitness channel. I think that kind of ticks that off. I guess you could have general channel with the voice comms, but I think sort of we maybe already do that, as we already do. Probably can't. Well, hopefully we can put in something which will help. Open meetings about well-being. The difficult thing about doing this with open meetings with a wellbeing officer is having the right person with the right qualifications to sort of step in and do that. one of the things which we want to make sure we sort of do within Esports Wales is make sure that it's a fun and safe environment. And I think having someone who maybe hasn't got those qualifications, who may then not be having the sort of having that background in sort of mental health and sort of supporting them might not be great. But I'm happy to run what will be, rather than sort of wellbeing sort of meetings like that, like open chat channels, which people can sort of jump in and sort of discuss things, maybe while playing a few games, like running something for Mind, or like a mental health charity, another mental health charity, which we could run something and have the sort of discussions there, and do that really. What else have we got? More community events. We are trying to run more community events. It's limited down to funding. Potentially, Jake. If things go right, and if there are contacts and stuff, if you do drop them over to us, we could definitely sort of link up and look at doing that. They sort of, I think it's it is sort of a topic which sort of sticks out. Like you can see above that, potentially that's half of our community, or half of the people who's completed the forms do have sort of some mental health sort of issues, I guess, which I think everyone sort of does. And if we can build in things into a sort of the community, it'll be great to sort of support that. Let's have a look. What have we got? All right, that's a nice one. I don't think our Call of Duty teams do cheating tournaments. But I
think if that was happening, it would have been. It
would have been addressed if it was. Mental coach, which again is that maybe safe space, including a channel on Discord for websites links. We do have that in the wellbeing chat. More mental health awareness days. Again, if we can run a community nights and things around it, which sort of we are sort of safe, then and then that's fine. More 5v5 tournaments every week. We are looking at doing that. Community cups. It's just a case of having the funding to be able to run those and sort of supporting that side of things. So we will. Go on, sorry, Joe. No, go on.
Through the new community nights we're trying to do, like we tried the League of Legends ARAM one, where people can sign up and then we'll put into brackets to go up against each other.
It sounds like we do need to signpost things a bit better because some of the sort of things we have tried to address prior to this. That was a sort of a quick question from Rob there. If people do have any questions and want to sort of chat about them on stream, feel free to do it. Stick them in the feedback and ideas channel. But you'll need to join the voice comms, the ESW review, so we can pull you into the Discord call. Don't need help. He's a god amongst men. This is the guy we need to sort of to tell us how to do everything. Monthly health awareness events. If we can do that, that's a good idea as well for the donation. So if we can link up with a sort of mental health charity, it'd be good to sort of run those, and then also sort of support people, but also give them an option to donate to the charity as well. Community games. Bethlehem. It's again, I agree with that. It needs to be is what I kind of said earlier. When they are saying that it's best left to professionals, it's just making sure that we're having the right people in place. If we were to have sort of these one-to-one talks, or if we was having sort of something where we'd say saying this person's here to sort of address things. But maybe like if we are linking up with a charity, I know sort of Mind offer these sort of one-to-one chats, and they have the professionals there. So it might be a case of we'll run sort of those nights for Mind. I kind of link in. So do you think Wales has enough support for women in gaming? Surprising, as you said. I think this is the one you picked out earlier, Joe.
Yeah, this was the one I picked up.
Yeah, so it's funny. Rob saying in as one of the questions, Rob jumped in. So I don't know if you want to jump in the channel to chat about that, but yeah, one of these questions was we need a female lineup. Like my personal preference is not to go down that route unless sort of needed, not because my personal view, which is not the view of EsportsWales on the side, this is that sort of one of the great things about esports is that it's inclusive, that it means that everyone can play together, are on the sort of same level playing fields. But I do understand that it's sometimes not as attractive for sort of women to get into esports when it's such a sort of male-dominated environment. And yeah, it's sort of having sort of the female teams allows them to sort of join these teams and grow that side of things. I'm not sure the best way to sort of address that. Whether it would be running teams ourselves or sort of building that side of things in there. But yeah, what's your view on it, Joe?
Yeah, I think my personal view as well, in terms of having a female lineup, I don't think I'd agree with that, because obviously the whole is trying to integrate women into esports as well and have it be all inclusive. And I think having a full female lineup doesn't really solve that issue. It does in the sense of we have more women involved in esports, but it still isn't really inclusive because they've got their own lineup kind of away from the men.
Yeah.
Where I know with a few of our teams, we had Maddie, who was with the CS team for a little bit, Welsh Maldonado, I think I'm pronouncing that wrong, but she's with the F1 team currently.
Yeah. So
we are having some success with having women integrating with the teams. I think it's just we need to try and bring in more and integrate a little bit more.
Yeah. I think it's a combination of things which we need to do maybe, and I guess it's something which we can go to the community and sort of see what they think is best. As I said, these are sort of our reviews really. I don't know if Rob, you want to jump in and sort of bring that up. If you jump into that, yes, what's it, ESW review channel, or if anyone else wants to join, sort of discuss it. I can see there's a couple of things in chat. Maybe we balance to have a female ambassador. That is a good idea. Someone to sort of their viewpoint. I know someone who actually would be good to do that if she would be interested in it. Given the females option, have all females and not all girls want to play with males? Yeah, that's fair enough. It's giving them the option to maybe run a team, but then also being the option to run. No worries. So it's giving them the option is a good idea. I think that is a good idea, which I shall put some of these down. I'll do that after actually. But I'll put these down on paper, and I think having maybe a female ambassador within EsportsWales to kind of address this will definitely be a good idea.
Yeah.
So moving on to the community section, it's right in the Discord. I personally see this as quite a good turnout. We have had a few. Oh, thank you for the sub, Faith. It's I think from the Discord side of things, I think we've recently changed the layout, which is quite a big change. We've moved the voice comms around, which were previously at the top. We've moved the game channels around, so a lot better for. I think it's a lot better for the Joe public coming in and people who can see the teams, whereas previously it would have been easier for admins and stuff to manage the teams and run things in a certain way, whereas now I think it's a lot easier to run things from the side of it's a lot easier now for people to come into the Discord and see where sort of certain channels are. I've worked with Joe on this. I don't know if anyone has any views on sort of potential changes. like there is one person who's given it a 3 out of 10. So maybe they can sort of come out, or the sort of 5, or sort of how we can get this up from these 5 and 6s up to sort of more of these 9s and 8s. But yeah, something which we'd like to do, and something which we'd like to improve on, really.
Yeah, definitely. Any changes we can make at all to make it better would be great. Like John said, we went through on the Discord, and the idea was kind of put everything in one place, so you're not reacting to a role. Then you've got games channels, communications channels, and then at the bottom you've got the categories with more games and info in. So we kind of went through, got rid of the things that weren't being used, and moved the general games channels then into the main games areas, so once you react to the role they appear. And it's kind of all in one area rather than being spread out throughout the Discord. And the hope is, yeah, that it looks a little bit neater, a little bit tidier, and a bit more user-friendly.
Cool. Yeah, so if we move on, we've got rate the rules of moderation. Again, there's a few people who sort of said 3 or 4, but generally positive, like it's on a higher level. Like no one likes rules, but hopefully we can sort of keep it. It's just keeping it a fun, safe environment. It's following the sort of community guidelines from sort of Discord themselves, and making sure that we sort of stand by those guidelines, ready for if we able to get partnered, or yeah, sort of the other few things which sort of Discord offers, and really sort of follow those guidelines. So looking at these, I think both of these are sort of fairly positive from my view. Like it would be nice if we could get these sort of slightly up, but as it's a sort of lower percentage, I don't think it's too bad. Yeah, so if we move on to the next question, how do EsportsWales further support of female players, LGBTQ, BAM, and other majority groups? So, or BAME, is it? Yeah, so if we go through more competitions, so yeah, I'm not sure, like, is that, if the person who's saying that, is that sort of focusing for certain things, potentially create female teams? So that's another thing which, if we brought in someone to sort of be the ambassador for that, yeah, it would sort of, yeah, whether we bring someone in to sort of look at the sort of female side of things, and whether they decide to run teams, or sort of develop that side of things. Dedicated events, links with other orgs. So again, the dedicated events, I'm not sure if these sort of are saying focusing on like ladies' nights, or LGBTQ nights, or sort of, yeah, sort of building that. Like I don't. It sounds like that is, and it seems to be a few of them saying that. So potentially it'd be a good idea to do that. Bringing in someone and maybe running. We have got a ladies' night here. So running something like that, like a LGBT charity nights, and ladies' nights, and sort of linking those in. So maybe like once a month, we run maybe a night which is linked to that. And whether whoever is sort of in that role, this would fall under the community side. So it would fall under Ace, who's currently the chief community officer. So it'd be bringing in an ambassador to sort of fit in these roles, and sort of support these groups. So maybe if we do that, bring someone in to sort of populate these groups, or sort of be like an ambassador for these groups for EsportsWales, and then maybe sort of improve how the community can sort of address these issues. We've had a few of these, which is dedicated tournaments, more content. What was it? Not sure. Very inclusive. Yeah, it's a lot of community nights, small events focused on them. Seems like a common weekly shoutouts for member.
Yeah, actually one of the questions that I liked was ways to select pronouns, which we did the other night when we moved around the Discord.
Yeah, we did put that on.
Any suggestions for more pronouns, or things to add to that? drop them in the feedback and ideas channel, and we can always add more onto that as well.
Cool. Yeah. So, do you feel it's in a safe environment? Bit disappointed 3 people said no, and prefer not to say. I guess we shouldn't. I guess we have to have prefer not to say if the thing. For those people who said no, I'd like to know sort of how we can improve the community. And sort of do it. So, from sort of the background and sort of things happening in the sort of background of EsportsWales, to give you some of the sort of business side of things. We've got a safeguarding policy within EsportsWales to sort of protect children and vulnerable adults. So I've got a qualification as a DSL, so safeguarding lead of EsportsWales, and also we're in the process of going through. Some people have done them, some people are in the process of doing them. Is what's called a DBS check, which is a background check of all the volunteers within EsportsWales to make sure that they've sort of not sort of completed any crimes and stuff. Previously of the sort of background check. And yeah, sort of trying to make it even more sort of safe environment. So yeah, if they do have any other questions really, or sort of any feedback, feel free to sort of DM me directly, or put it in the feedback and ideas channel, and we can discuss it really. But yeah, sort of my personal view is I'm not sure what else we could do to sort of make it a safer environment. It is an online community, and that's always sort of a difficult one to sort of protect and sort of thing, because you're trying to have an open community, but then also trying to make it sort of a fun and safe environment, which is a difficult one to achieve really. Cool. Tips on how we can improve the community around Wales. Around esports in Wales. So it's the same sort of thing. Community, more gaming nights, solid structure, management, making more events. I agree, we need more events. Some of these are down to funding, so we can't run based on sort of the amount of cost to run some of these events. We try to run the Proving Grounds weekly, which sort of, those are sort of cheaper to run, but the community cups and things like that, when we look at the prize pools and things, that is a sort of cost linked to that, with sort of production size, prize pools and that side of things. So that's where it's sort of why we're not able to run these as much as we'd like.
Yeah, I think we are kind of towards that as well at the moment. Obviously, we've only recently just kind of picked up on it, but with the new schedule that's coming out now, promoting what's going on weekly, we can kind of try and find space within the week, if nothing's going on, to put more of the new community nights that we mentioned earlier that we're doing into those slots to fill, and possibly the for you guys to be able to vote on a community night each week of like a specific game. So if a majority wanted to play Rocket League, for example, everybody can vote for Rocket League, and then there'd be a Rocket League community night, and things like that.
Cool. I just threw it back so they can actually see you now, Joe, for a bit while you're sort of chatting. Yeah, so I'll throw it back and forth every now and then, just so when you ask things, so they sort of see the people behind EsportsWales a bit more. Yeah, so with that side of things, I think there's a few other stuff which has come out on how we can improve the community around EsportsWales. More advertising, we're looking at doing that, but we put out most of the nights on Twitter, on social media and things. Yeah, so it's stuff which we would like to do more, and sort of build that up, but it's a case of, at the moment, it's down to sort of the funding side of things and why that's not linking up. But yeah, definitely hold events when COVID restrictions ease is one of the sort of questions we've had. Yeah, it's someone said it's all right to keep it up. Don't have suggestions at this point. We'll contact you when I do, though, John. So someone said they got more suggestions. But yeah, I think it's a lot of that is running more events, which we do look to sort of do and yeah, just advertising those. So they say more organised proving grounds, have a set date for the proving grounds as such. I miss most of the proving grounds that are announced the same day. Maybe set the 10th of every month as a set date for league proving grounds, or Saturday or Sunday around the 10th.
There was one in here for advertising online with things such as special events and taster sessions for those getting into esports.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, we are running the Give It a Try for Valorant to kind of give people who've never tried Valorant at all a bit of a taster into what the game's like.
Yeah.
So definitely look at doing more of those and trying to help more people get into esports.
Yeah, I think it's there's quite a few things, meetups and LANs, of course, more inclusive atmosphere, more live streams when possible. This is kind of what we're doing here, is trying to sort of link that up and build that in, really. Yeah, so there's definitely a few things which is on here, which we can do. So if we move on to the next question, if I throw it back to this, you can see the next question. So what community events would you like to see? So we've got Rocket League, which we do a lot of Rocket League events, to be fair. Out of the events which we run, a lot of the bigger events we've run have been Rocket League. Just in-house, more competitive stuff, that's fair enough. Community tournaments, so we are looking at doing the community cups. Call of Duty speed events. Is that like speed runs, I assume?
If that's speed run, it might be, yeah.
Which, yeah, we might be able to do time trials for prizes and look at doing that. So, you know, the fastest race or something like that. Or was it Super Meat Boy, getting the fastest time on Super Meat Boy level. Some of these games have got leaderboards, so if we can find a game which does that, it's something which we could do. Live viewing the games, so whether that's, I don't know if this is as in like streaming the teams which are playing, or if that's viewing like a viewing party for like League of Legends Worlds or something like that. Both are
aimed at viewing parties.
Yeah, both are something which we'd look at doing. Both are something we look at doing. And someone's just asking chat about having a highlights montage. Again, that's something which we'd like to do. It's about having the right people to create those videos, and also people putting in the clips in the. There's a channel on Discord for video and pics. What we're looking at doing is having. One of the things we'd like to do is having that channel, and then each month run a community clip of the month. So everyone drops their sort of clips for various games in there, and they'll be used as like a montage video, which we'll be able to put out then with a sort of clip of the month, and the winner gets like a prize for doing it. What have we got? Racing events. We haven't done a lot of racing events. I know we got sort of a scene growing with the F1, and I spoke to Mike a couple of times about doing it. It's something which I'd like to run, but it's just something which we haven't had a chance to do yet. WoW Dungeon Nights, we were discussing that when Gaz was Chief Community Officer. It never really got it started running, but if I don't play World of Warcraft myself, but if we did have someone who was sort of doing it, it would be more sort of, yeah, like Dungeon Nights rather than creating a guild and running that yet. It would just be sort of getting everyone on who plays WoW, jumping in comms and running some sort of Dungeon Nights. So if we can get the right person to run it, I'd like to see that happen, but it's sort of the right person sort of stepping up and doing it, really. More competitive tournaments, yeah. LAN games, yeah. Overwatch, we do run teams, but we haven't run a tournament for a while. It's just really planned to run a community cup. but it's just the way this gone. It's sort of building up there. What else we got? League of Legends meetups. There's few for meetups really. We definitely want to do meetups. We did a few before. It's just really a case of, you know, when restrictions ease. Fundraisers, we've done quite a few charity screams. We've done one not so long ago about Lamau, the homelessness charity. We've done a few for Special Effect, and then every Monday there's one running now, run sort of by Admiral, I guess, and they're raising money there. So if you jump on, I think it's every Monday for the Call of Duty side of things. If you jump on there, or just check our socials for the next one coming up, and sort of build in with that. I think that side of things, or whether that's fundraising for us, I'm not really sure.
Yeah, I think the Admiral one is monthly, isn't it? Let me quickly have a look.
Yeah, if you double check, but if you check our socials for it, it'd be a case of doing it. We've got also women nights and pub nights. So I guess that's another one for ladies' nights, which they're looking at doing it. Anything and everything from paintballing, go-karting, off-roading, sightseeing. I'm sure everyone has hobbies. Well, I'm down for all of those. I do paddleboarding, mountain biking, hiking. Yeah, if people want to sort of join me on that, just drop me a message. I'm South Wales based, but I'll definitely be heading up Snowdonia now when the weather breaks. We got sim racing tournaments, in-house League of Legends, which we do sort of. This is weekends, please. So if we were running something like that on the weekend, it'd most likely be focused on. The stuff on the weekends would most likely be bigger tournaments like community cups and that side of things. More Apex Legends, which is also something which we do in some nights. We're not looking around teams yet, Apex Legends, but it's a case of seeing if we grow the community and sort of building up from there.
Yeah.
Just having a quick look through chat. Someone's asking about, do we run Xbox tournaments? The teams which play in Call of Duty, some of those are console, and so some of the Rocket League stuff can be console. But we don't run any other sort of games as such. FIFA we did, which was of course console based, but I don't think it was anything else.
The F1, I think the F1 guys are on PlayStation, aren't they?
Oh yeah, true. The F1, yeah. Right, if we jump back to that, cool. So, where are we on? How do we socialise with friends? Oh, sorry, we've got, pretty much the tournament stuff. How do we socialise with friends? So we've got Discord chats, gaming meetups, Discord online. It's it's Instagram, Discord, mainly Discord, which is fair enough. At pubs, restaurant, recently Zoom. But yeah, most of the stuff is Discord, gaming, going out, which is that stuff is sort of cool. The reason why some of these questions are in there is again to sort of show anyone we're sort of applying for funding or applying for any events or stuff like that. It's just showing we're delivering stuff that the community wants. So saying that is an online community, which there's how do people socialize with their friends and stuff. So saying that it is on Discord just shows there's a sort of a need for us to run it on Discord, and why we need to sort of grow the community from that. Does EsportsWales offer enough opportunities and experience in the industry? So there's no comment and yes. The reason why this question's in there is kind of one of the things, or one of the core goals of EsportsWales, is to sort of grow the scene here in Wales and sort of help develop people. So while I sort of the opportunity, so the idea behind this is, one, you've got volunteers. So we've got it's a volunteer run organisation. The only paid person is Joe, but it's a case of everyone else in the organisation is volunteer. We would like to sort of pay people and sort of build that up, but we do pay some people on like a freelance basis. But it's it is a case of giving people the experience or gaining that experience at the moment to sort of get these roles within the esports industry. We're not expecting people to sort of come in and sort of know everything. It's a case of area where you can sort of develop these skills. Not just the volunteers though, it's where players are able to sort of develop. So we've got the two teams. So the way it sort of works is you have the proving grounds where people can play on sort of on a weekly basis, which sort of develop their sort of skills. And also we're looking at sort of sign-ups, including for streamers. So the proving grounds will be a way to gain experience in your streaming, production, and playing the game. So I think that's a good sort of area to start with. Moving on from that, then it'd be a case of people will be able to clip and make things and sort of develop stuff from that, like videos and stuff from those proving grounds to sort of show off, again, experience that side of things. And then it moves on to the community cups, where it's the next level. So it's a case of, you would maybe learn something or get that experience in the proving grounds, and then you move on to the community cups, which is playing as a full team, playing in these against sort of harder opponents. It's a longer tournament. It's not just a quick round robin. So it sort of shows how the sort of full event sort of grows, really. So what we want to start focusing more on is those proving grounds, focusing on developing like the casters, the players, that side of things, and the proving grounds, and moving them on to these community cups on the weekends, and then sort of following that, moving them on then to some of the bigger stuff, or going out themselves and sort of getting the experience then, or they've got the experience, but being able to show off that experience to like larger employers, I guess, to gain sort of end up casting bigger tournaments and everything else from that side of things. So for the people who said no, it's difficult to say what areas you want to gain experience in. And if we're doing it, one of the other things we're looking at doing as well, if we get the funding, is also provide sort of people giving some sort of coaching. It'd be depending on games and depending on what coaching we have. But it'd be really a case of sort of developing that and putting that out there. So yeah, if anyone has any sort of queries about that, or anyone wants to jump in chat and sort of have a discussion around it, feel free to. You can jump in the drop question in the feedback and ideas, and you feel free to jump in and sort of discuss on how we can sort of improve that.
A couple of questions in the Twitch chat
regarding this.
Things. If you could do more online community hangouts, fun challenges and quizzes, and open game nights with challenges, etc. Some questions about EsportsWales supporting content creators, using sort of the EsportsWales name to grow their audience at the same time.
Yeah,
I'm not sure. Has what's going on with Ben been made sort of public knowledge, or is that
it's not public knowledge, but I'm happy to say the plan. We are looking at having an official stream team, which Ben Blockjamming is looking at developing that. I think it should be going out this month, but it would only be a small team of about sort of 5 to 10 people. And that's the way we'd sort of like keep that as people who are linked with EsportsWales. Linked with EsportsWales as a sort of official stream team. Those are people who then we'd give them a few sort of benefits really of being official streamers of EsportsWales, and they're content creators. So we want them to be playing esports titles. We want them to be sort of engaging with the community, engaging with social medias, and likewise EsportsWales then will be sort of posting about their sort of when they're going live and a few things like that, as well as some of the sort of content which they make. It'll be sort of retweeting and linking from that side of things. So out of those, we want to target not just one game, and we want to target the sort of full area of EsportsWales. So that's why I said it'd be 5 to sort of 10 people. So it'd be trying to cover multiple games, esports titles, and different sort of personalities in different areas within EsportsWales. Cool. Yeah, if I throw it back to these, so would you pay for entry into a tournament? Some people say yes, some people say no. We try to put everything of EsportsWales free, which is why it's down to sort of funding sometimes, is that we're not running, expecting you guys to pay to enter these tournaments. We're trying to run everything we can for free, but yeah, it may be something in the future which we'll look at running some paid tournaments just so we know that they will run and be able to sort of cover the cost of the tournaments, which means that we'll run more regular tournaments from that side of things. So again, it's reviewing stuff, people taking part in the community events. So we got community review, so people have done Give It a Try, Proven Grounds, Community Cups, and then sort of some casual stuff like Among Us, Aram. We were running a lot of Among Us at one point. Been quite positive. Looking at community events you've attended. So again, it looks like the majority of people have enjoyed those events, and the majority of people will recommend those to their friends. How do you think you can improve more team groups? Putting a cap on players in the cups, nothing over diamond. So I'm assuming this is linked to Rocket League, but it is something which I'd like to do, is sort of have a lower level. What you find though is the issue with when you sort of do that, it's very much the gold players. Like if you say you cap it at diamond, the next one down, let's say plat, the plat level players will win the tournament because you've just stopped the diamond level players doing it. And that isn't really, there's always the best team wins in esports. So wherever we cap it, if we cap it at sort of plat level, what it tends,
teams are going to win.
Yeah, yeah, if I throw it back, and that's always going to be the case. So the one of the things which I do like, which we have run for the Welsh Masters, was the Swiss tournaments, which means that as the tournament progresses, you kind of fit more into the your bracket, or sort of your sort of skill level, so the games get closer as the game goes on. So you may have a bad first game, but you may be able to win the second game, and sort of as it goes on, it gets closer and closer, and the sort of final game as such is a sort of a closer opponents, and it also means that if we play like a single player tournament, or sort of a single elimination tournament, sorry, I should say, it doesn't mean that you play one game, you're knocked out, or double elim where you play 2 games and you're knocked out.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, so go back to this. We need more I can't say it. Yeah, so stale, very fast, too much frequency, not enough variation. So it's something which, the issue we've got is we kind of want to sell these events to sponsors, so we've got to keep them fairly repetitive as such, like the community cups, the Proven Grounds, but hopefully as they grow, it'll be something which we can develop and be a more premium product for people turning up. Advertise more. Yeah, I agree that we need to sort of structure these and sort of set dates. The dates are set for a lot of these. If you go on the EsportsWales website and the calendar, I think you can see all of them up till 2022 for a lot of these. The only thing which hasn't been sort of scheduled in is the community cups, because we're still waiting on some planning for those. More control to the... Go on, sorry.
I think one of the issues we suffer with as well, with the kind of like the staleness and the repetitiveness, obviously, like you said, we're trying to sell them to sponsors. But like you mentioned earlier, everybody besides myself in EsportsWales are all volunteers, and we can't really expect those people to then put more hours in on top to host, different community nights, different events or bigger tournaments and so forth. Because obviously it's not a paid job, they're only volunteers, and they're only really required to put a certain amount of hours in a week or a month, versus somebody like me who, it's my job to do specific things, and I kind of have to do, I have to do them because it's a job. Yeah. So yeah, branching out more and having more variation is kind of putting more pressure on our volunteers then, and with all that pressure on you and it not being paid, it's kind of like shooting ourselves in the foot, really.
Yeah, so it's down to the people and getting people to run it. So what we don't want to do is offer, say, like we're going to run, let's say, I don't know, an F1 tournament, which we're not running at the moment, and then not being able to have the people who can run that tournament, or then putting a lot of pressure on the people who would be running that tournament, to be running something where we haven't got the sort of in-depth stuff. So it's something which we like to do, but again, it's down to funding and things, and a few other things around that. But the advertisement, as Joe said, but he's recently come on board to help out. So one of the things which we're looking at doing is, you might have seen in the announcement channel this week, it was a sort of graphic of like all the events which are happening this week. So we'd like to put those out every week, so people will have like a more of a, if you've got the announcement channel, please unmute it if you haven't muted it, because that'll be coming out sort of each week, showing sort of the events on. So it's a bit of a reminder. When we was having like Proving Grounds for League of Legends every week, what we found is, as someone said, it got stale quite quick. So we've changed it to every fortnight, and linking onto that side. And yeah, I think it's really a case of sort of running that. I know some people are saying moving around the dates, which is fair enough. What we could maybe have is like, one week we'll run the Proving Grounds for League of Legends on a Monday, and then like 2 weeks later we'll run it on the Wednesday. So we sort of rotate those and sort of build that in. If we do that, we'll update the calendars on the website. So that's a way to sort of build that in. Cool. The people have got reward challenges, be more organised, which is something which we're looking at doing. It's on the calendar. We'll be following those. It's just really a case of time, really, and getting things sorted from that side of things. So if we move on to, because we've still got quite a few questions to sort of fly through, so I'll try and fly through these quite quick, really. It's operations side, so this is run by Upro. He's the Chief Ops of EsportsWales. So what we've got is social media. How often do people use social media? Generally, it's like, it looks like sort of daily is a big thing, multiple times a week, once a week. So most of the time it's there. There are a few people who use it very rare, twice a month. Well, and as saying that we have social media, we do have a lot of social media. We have Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Discord. Yeah, we've kind of got everything on there. I think there's a link tree attached to Twitter, which you'll be able to sort of see and follow sort of all our social media. Also, you've got things like Steam group. You've got our Twitch, and then you've got other groups like in Apex, in Battle.net, and a few other groups like that, which sort of link into it. This one, I think, is a big one for us to maybe address on the advertising and linking back to the website more, which I'll put up an article probably after this now about the EsportsWales review, and a few things like that. And yeah, a lot of people said you have a website which is nearly 50%, and then some people are saying they go on it twice a month, once a week. I don't know who's going on our website daily. Probably me. But that's not me. But yeah, it's yeah, maybe sort of teams and stuff. But yeah, it looks like it's something which we need to address more. Looking at what people follow us on, looks like the majority of people follow us on sort of, or access the things on Twitter, which again, most of our stuff goes out. We don't tend to use Instagram as much as we could. It's definitely something which we can look at sort of addressing more. I think the things which we need to do is Facebook and Instagram. Again, we don't have a Snapchat, I don't think, for EsportsWales, so this might be something which we can create and look at linking that into what information we put out and developing that. And yeah, Discord we definitely have, and we have a TikTok which we develop, and we do have a LinkedIn, which people can follow us on. But the LinkedIn stuff, it's a lot of sort of content and stuff is stripped back because it's a lot more focused on sort of the more business side of Esports Wales rather than what's happening from the other side, really. Cool. That was a quick section. If we move on to esports section, these are quite quick to go through. Did you know that you don't need to be Welsh to play for Esports Wales team? This refers to Tan and Yar, that you don't need to be Welsh. We run our teams, or try to run them, with 40% of the player base being Welsh or living in Wales. For the two people who didn't know that, it means that these teams are open to you to play in those tournaments, and that runs the same for the Welsh Masters. Our community cups, anyone can enter, so you can have teams which are not where some of the players, well, none of the players are Welsh or living in Wales, and that's fine. I think we try to keep them European based on sort of servers, and some of the things we sort of limit to sort of UK based, but it's pretty open for the community cups and entering. It's just our teams then which we have that sort of that restriction on. Do people play for Esports Wales teams? So it means we drop the survey to the teams. Majority of them plays for a team. What games would you like to see? So these are some of the ones which we don't run. Hearthstone, we don't run. Fortnite, we have tried running in the past, but we found it really difficult to get those teams and stuff up and running and sort of working correctly. Happy with the game selection. Biggest push to card games. We have looked at card games. Magic Gathering would be good for like a local event, developing that side of things. I don't know if that classes as a e-sport, if it's a physical card game. But yeah, sort of these card games we have looked at. We just haven't been able to get the sort of player base and a push really for that. But if we had someone step forward wanting to run sort of Hearthstone tournament or something like that, I think that would be the best way to sort of start it, is we look at running like a tournament on some of these card games and seeing what sort of what interest we get and go from there really. CSGO we run, so if you'd like to see that game, pop along to sort of pick your roles, because we've got a CSGO channel. Driving games, yes, we only focus on F1 at the moment. I know there is iRacing and a few others. The issue is that it's kind of, we want to build up one and sort of develop that, and then sort of if that works we can sort of move develop it further. But at the moment I think we'll only be focused on F1, unless there again it's a sort of bigger crowd. So what we'd probably look at doing is running a event, or people sort of asking us for a particular game, and we'd sort of focus on that. Valorant, Overwatch, League of Legends, we'd run all those. World of Tanks, I know people enjoy playing, but yeah, it's something which you can do. What teams they play for, that's all good. So these are different games which people play for or enjoy playing, and yeah, majority is League, who's completed the survey, but there's 2 in Overwatch, Rocket League, CSGO, a few in F1. Does Esports Wales offer all the channels needed? So this is one that's come back, which again, it'd be nice to know. It's nice to know sort of. We don't need to know who sort of said this, because it's an anonymous survey. But it'd be like to know that if teams are feeling that we haven't got the channels, enough channels for their team, they should either be coming to the game manager. Or Rink, who's the chief gaming officer of Esports Wales, and then discussing what channels they need. We'll happily create the channels and sort of build that in, but it's definitely something which I haven't been told that the teams need extra channels, but obviously it's come back as yes, you do. So the way we've changed Discord now is each team has their sort of, or the team channels are sort of broken off a bit. So it does make life a bit easier for the teams to have their sort of own area in like scouting opponents or sort of some more information. And I think having like a Google Doc around that might work as well. So yeah, if either speak to me myself private or Rinked or the game manager for whatever game and bring up what channels you would like, and then sort of discussion with myself or Joe, and we'll look at sort of implementing those. Was it easy to apply for the team? A few people said no, or sort of not no, but sort of a low amount. I think the way you'll get better is us running the proving grounds more regular and things like that and building that in. The way we've done in the past is down to forms, and it is quite difficult to sort of get everyone from a form and then put them into a team and then expect it to work. Yeah, and it's sort of the trial nights seem to be the best, but it's a case of whether people will turn up on the night or be able to sort of do that. So majority, I think, is yes. But yeah, it's sort of the way we run in EsportsWales. We want to have competitive teams who sort of can compete now, and in doing so means that some people like myself wouldn't be good enough to get into a team. So yeah, unfortunately, all we can offer for you guys is the Proving Grounds and Community Cups, and then hopefully you can gain that experience to then get into a point that you play for one of our teams. How likely are you recommend EsportsWales to a friend? Well, hopefully we can get this up. Hopefully we can sort of run things, and I think in running more events, hopefully address those issues and sort of build that in. Sorry, do you have any queries, Joe?
I was just agreeing, running more events, and hopefully it'll bring that rating up.
Yeah, it's something which we definitely would like to sort of improve these, but most of these graphs are looking quite positive, where the higher percentage is up at sort of the good end, and it's just really sort of fixing some of the issues which we have had in the past and sort of moving those up. We've taken away the way we rearrange the channel. We've taken away the sort of automatic sign up forms where people can sign up whenever they want, and we found that there's no point in signing up for rosters when our rosters are full. It's a bit sort of unfair to people who go, oh well, I've signed up 2 months ago for a roster and then didn't get picked or something, and this kind of case of things have changed and that type of thing. So we've taken those away, and when we are looking for a roster, that's when we'll be putting out the forms, and that's when we'll be running or focusing more on the sort of trial nights and making sure those proving grounds are more competitive, and fixing it more on the the higher level players, or fixing it more around the sort of whatever tournaments we're looking into those teams in, more the stipulations around those. So Twitch stream again, I think that's quite good. Generally quite positive. I know Jake is doing a sort of awesome job with the production stuff, and we've had things like Reaper Steve running the Call of Duty stuff recently with Admiral, and casting the CS stuff. It'd be good to get more content on there and building that up and getting more community, the Proving Ground stuff on there, and developing that. So that's one of the things we'd like to do. It's just a case of building in this structure and making sure that sort of these events run a bit more regular. And when people are saying they're going to stream things, those stuff sort of moving forward and getting those streamed. Branding of EsportsWales, no one wanted to give us 9, but there's a few people who give us 10, and again, it's sort of more on the positive. It's something which we look at improving. We will be changing a few things, but it's something we're looking to sort of develop and keep improving. If there is any sort of things that you guys want from EsportsWales, like branded EsportsWales stuff, backgrounds or stuff like that, let us know. Drop it in the feedback channel, and what we can do is see if we can make them really and sort of deliver what you guys want. YouTube on the blog.
Yeah, they're kind of mixed.
Yeah.
Some people.
Oh, let me throw this up to chat so people can actually see as well. So these are when I was saying about the branding, as you can see, these quite high. When we're looking at the YouTube and the website stuff, you can see they're quite mixed. Yeah, what do you? Well, sorry, Joe, I was going to cut you off. What was you saying about
that? Yeah, they just seem really mixed.
Yeah.
I myself personally, the YouTube content, I think we can improve on quite a lot.
Yeah.
But some people are saying the YouTube content is great, and then others are saying, it's absolutely terrible.
Yeah.
Same for the blog posts. 6 people said that it's a 10, it's great, and then one person said that it's a 1, 3 people for 2. Yeah, I find that quite strange, actually.
Yeah, well, I see people's reviews, and this is what this survey is meant to highlight. It's meant to sort of show off areas which we need to improve, and you can see from just these two, compared to the stream production, when you've got the YouTube content and the website posts, how different it is, and it just means we need to work on those elements really. And what we tend to do for YouTube, it is what I'm going to do for this video really, is copying the Twitch stuff, download it and put it on YouTube. Now that's great, but as someone said earlier in the chat, I can't remember who said it, about having some montage reels and things like that, and it's something which we need to sort of work on and develop and do that. And from the website, it depends on what people want from the website, I think, is one thing. And that's what I'd like to see, if people have any feedback on there, is the website isn't great, and it's kind of what needs to help with that. But it's what content you want on the website. So for us to address that, really.
Yeah, I think maybe if we put up another form after this, then for the biggest ones, we kind of need community input on what people think would be good spot on the website as well.
Yeah,
that's already on there, or what they think maybe needs updating.
Yeah, it's a good idea. I think maybe we do sort of a quick poll after this, and it wouldn't need to be like a big survey like this one is, but some sort of quick ones are going, even if we put it out on Twitter, and do a poll on Twitter or something like that of, what would you guys like to see on the website, or what content would you like to see on our YouTube channel? Because I definitely think these two areas is something which we'd like to do. Yeah, so if I throw back to the questionnaire, so what have we got? We've got Welsh language content. Majority of people said they don't want more Welsh content, but there's a decent percentage. 40% said yes, they do want it. It'd be good if we can offer that Welsh content without not taking away from sort of people who don't want it. So we do have a Welsh channel on the Discord, which people are free to use and is free to speak Welsh in. Also, if we can run some tournaments or sort of some things where some of that casting will be in Welsh, that would be a good way to sort of do it. Or maybe some articles on the website would be in Welsh. Again, that would be something which potentially we could offer, or maybe some articles which are bilingual. So we could offer that to people. It's a case having the right people to do that. I don't think any of our writers do speak Welsh, fluent sort of in writing Welsh. I'm not sure if that is the case, but maybe in the future we'll look at sort of bringing on some writers who sort of can speak Welsh or be able to write Welsh, sort of address that, just that. Would you like a monthly newsletter? No, don't mind, and yes. Again, this one, something which we like to do, just again to keep people up to date, because people are saying they don't see posts and stuff, so similar to what Joe's doing, and posting that weekly update of going, these are the events which are coming about. It'd be good if we could do the same then for a monthly newsletter, and then bring on bring on sort of some of the news that's come out, like Rob coming on board from the director side of things. So some of that would be good to sort of post. Also, sort of the bigger events coming out that month, and sort of how we sort of dressing things and working on behind the scenes. So that monthly newsletter, I think, is something which we'd like to go ahead with, but we also don't want to take away. So it'd be something which people could sign up for, but if they didn't want to sign up for, then that's fine. So yeah, it'd be an option for these 18 people, or was it 43%? But if people didn't want to, they wouldn't have to sign.
Yeah, I think that would definitely be a good idea going forward, because I've been here a month and I still haven't even announced that I've joined the company yet.
Yeah, which would be good if that's why I wanted you on the stream today, so people sort of one knows that, and two could put a sort of name to a face, and people sort of you dropping the message on the sort of the team channels, asking for contracts and stuff to be signed. They sort of knows sort of asking and for what really. So what else have we got? We got some additional contents from the creative side. So controllers, I'm assuming that is people want us to build the controllers, which we had some sort of graphics made for. We have looked at how to do that. It's just difficult to get the prints for them at the moment, but it'd be nice to do it. Teaching Welsh to people. One of our partners is called Inquiry. That's pretty much what they do. They teach sort of the medium Welsh through gaming. Definitely check them out. They're in the EsportsWales Discord. They've got their own channel. They've got their own sort of stream and stuff which they run. But yeah, go and check them out. We'll try and build a bit more Welsh in, because as someone said in chat, Welsh standards are a massive thing, and we do try to sort of build in Welsh as we can into EsportsWales, but it's difficult enough to run everything we want to run. It's harder again to sort of run it where you've got two languages you've got to update things in. So it's something which we want to do and keep developing, but at the moment it's sort of we're trying to just run these events for you and making sure you have the sort of proving grounds and community cups running, and then sort of as we do that, we'll try and sort of develop and sort of build on top of it, and run more things, more consistency. I think that's across the board from this what I've kind of read for this review. More YouTube content would be great. Yeah, definitely, because people have sort of said more content, maybe some YouTube series. I've tried to do a Be a Better Gamer YouTube series. Lately I've struggled with time, because sort of I had a lot of meetings regarding sort of other projects and things running, and we haven't really had the chance to sort of go ahead with it. I'm hopefully looking to get that running in the next sort of month or two, and then sort of pulling a few people in from the community. Again, I'm involved with it, as well as doing some sort of fun community events around it, like tier lists and things like that, and maybe just jumping on like things like this, having a chat to the community, which will sort of then get moved on to the YouTube channel. One of the things we've got is this channel, the ESW review. If we did this in the future, we could again move this into a podcast. What we've run before was something called the EsportsWales Weekly. It'd be nice if we could sort of bring that back, even if it's not as running as many things as what we did before, but something like this where we can chat about things. Like we've been running this now for about an hour and a half, and sort of bringing people in and sort of chatting around sort of EsportsWales, what's going on really in the community, showing off like the clip of the month or something like that. Maybe we'll start to running the like EsportsWales Weekly on sort of something like a monthly basis, even though it's sort of called weekly, and then maybe sort of running like a smaller show or sort of chat, sort of during the each week or something like that, which then leads up to the sort of monthly. Really like it, to be honest. Hardly any videos or content seen. Again, it's down to sort of the video side of things. promotion of teams of Esports Wales. If you ask members in the community to name members of each team, some members from a team, they wouldn't be able to unless they're friends. That's a fair point. Esports Wales wind down. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, it's. I definitely think that there's more things we need to do to sort of promote the teams and sort of build them up. Also, no incentives for members of the community to help out with community nights, branding, or esports. So we do have a volunteer reward scheme for Esports Wales for sort of all the volunteers, all players. They have something which is called the Supporters Club. The way people can get into the Supporters Club is they're either a volunteer, a player, or they're donate to Esports Wales, whether that's on Twitch or whether that's Nitro, or potentially other revenue things which we've done or will be doing. And it gains access. So what we're looking at doing is developing that supporters club. So maybe doing like weekly, monthly giveaways and things like that, which are free for the supporters to enter, and sort of it gives back to them. So that's one of the things which we are looking at doing. Also, there's been a lot more engagement from our side in talking to kind of like what we're doing here, but a lot more in the supporters club for people to sort of really discuss and sort of develop things from that side. Creative content in general, nothing to add. More marketing, that's down to cost, some of the marketing. Keep up what you're doing. We're doing amazing. Thank you, whoever wrote that. More publicity for the teams. So I think that it'd be a lot more content on the teams. Maybe getting more the teams streamed, which is it's a case of the game managers letting us know sort of what content needs to be sort of displayed. So the game managers need to let production and the streaming side of things know, and the writers know when these games are happening before us producing that content. So I'll need to sort of liaise with Rink, the Chief Gaming Officer, and the game managers for them to let us know when things are happening, and what we can do then is sort of build that in and develop it from there. Okay, so do you believe Esports Wales has a clear vision? Some people said no, about 60%. Majority of people said yes. There is a vision on the website and strategy. I think it needs to be reviewed, which we'll see if we can do at the next board meeting. But it's definitely something which we need to look at doing. The general vision, or sort of clear vision, is to promote and develop esports in Wales, to do that via Proven Grounds, Community Cups, bespoke tournaments, and the Masters. And sort of building up through that, and then from the sort of other industry around it, it's the volunteers in these sort of various roles and developing those to sort of do that. So we do that through training, coaching, and just experience on the job, really. So that's the way we're looking at sort of developing them. As we grow, what we'll tend to do is we'll have more sort of people, more experienced people in those roles, but still also having people in sort of the volunteer roles with Esports Wales to keep that sort of experience growing and allow people to sort of gain experience within the industry, really. And as we grow as well, by having Esports Wales and the teams, so having having Esports Wales, the teams as well, Yar and Tan and Yar, what it does is it allows us to sort of develop those channels and allow people to give the experience on those side of things as well. So what else we got? Do you believe Esports Wales is focusing on the right objectives? Again, it's people are saying no. I'd like to sort of know what objectives people who've said no on this is what you'd like us to sort of focus on, and what objectives sort of you'd like me and Joe and everyone else in the sort of the team to be focusing on from your side. Whether if you can sort of feed that back, feel free to sort of build that in. So if people can let us know. that'd be sort of great from that side of things.
Yeah, I think that one's a little bit like a little bit complicated, because I think for the people that said no, they probably just think there's more we could be doing. But kind of coming back to the whole volunteer and money issue, it can be a struggle, because I know you said you were trying to do the YouTube series for being, or whatever the YouTube series is called.
Yeah.
But you can't do it because you're struggling for time. If I was to try and take that on top of all the bits I'm doing now, I'm sure I'd end up getting burned out. And we can't then throw it onto the volunteers and expect them to do more. Because I know if we had £1 million budget a year, I'm sure we could run all community cups we want, like all masters, pay people, and we probably get so much further. But at the moment, we are kind of restricted to making do with what we have.
Yeah. Yeah, and you're pretty much right. It's a case of it's a limited budget and a limited time. So like majority of our volunteers currently work as well, and sort of doing that as this is on the side. So it's linking up really with those two side of things. And yeah, it's having that balance. So what we want to do is keep developing, and hopefully it means that we'll get more sponsors, more sort of funding and things like that, which then will allow us to support more events. And by having that funding, it means that those events can sort of really sort of just carry on sort of seamlessly, and means we can sort of support players and sort of that side of things as well, and sort of build that in. So yeah, it's definitely something which we need to do. And having the YouTube side of things, if people can drop in the clips into the video and pics channel, it's a case of putting those in, and then sort of case of what we can do then is look at paying the YouTube YouTube developer or someone who's creating those videos, and sort of create like a clip every month, which we can sort of put out. So it's something which we want to do more of, and sort of develop that side of things. It's just sort of some of that is down to budget, some of it's down to time, and it's sort of finding out what our core goals are really, and what we can sort of achieve, and what we can do and deliver, that side of things, and what we can't. So it's about building those really on the side of things, and doing that. Yeah, cool. There's only a few questions left, so it's only additional feedback. So if we run through these, if anyone does want to sort of any queries and stuff, feel free to drop them in the feedback and ideas channel, and we can sort of discuss those as well. So additional feedback, more coaches is something which we'd like to do, more coaches, and doing that again is down to funding, finding the right coaches for the teams. But if we can get those coaches in, we'll look at getting them to sort of coach our teams, as well as assisting if they can with the college teams and the university teams, and sort of build that in. So we'll have those links then of those college teams and university teams coming to EsportsWales, which and coming to approved coaches by EsportsWales, who can sort of coach these teams and sort of help the players improve. Keep doing what we're doing. Thank you. Who said that? Yes, we are trying to. So it isn't clear what we're aiming to do. We are trying to make the best teams possible, and promote talent development. There aren't that many Welsh players in the high-level Welsh players in the organisation. So it's just, I agree with this point here, where they're saying sort of there's a cross-section between sort of average players and the sort of player sort of rotation. But again, it's that development. So it's a case of having the coaches in place, having the players. And as we grow, hopefully some of those high-level players will be more attractive to EsportsWales, more attracted to the organisation, and sort of having those links. But it's that balance. So that's why we run our teams at 40% Welsh or living in Wales, with Tan and Iar, because it means that it's about having that balance. So it's about having the side of things of where... having the balance really. So it's a case of it means that these teams can compete, and having a Welsh player being able to compete to that level as well. So it's something which I think we'll develop in time, but it just takes time for us to sort of build on. More content and videos, that seems to be a common thing through through this review, really, is getting more YouTube, more content, and doing that. So it's something which I'll go back to Ben and discuss and see how we can sort of address this. One of the things I think is content creators having that, as well as getting someone sort of develop videos and the content which we can put out there. So yeah, I'll speak to Shades, not Shades. I think it's pronounced like Shades. The YouTube manager. So I'll have a discussion with him, and then as well as Ben, to sort that out. And we can sort of Shads, is it pronounced? And we look at sort of. I know he's created some YouTube channel videos for us, and they've been quite good. But it's just a case of doing more regular stuff. So if he can do that, and we can sort of work with him and pay where's needed to get that content out and sort of develop that. More hype needs to build around the teams. So this is again something which has been sort of brought through, more encouragement, incentives for members of the community to create content. We're looking at doing that. Professional help with branding and content creation. Is that us helping people, or is that us developing our content and brand? I'm not really sure whether that was that year, but it's something which. Go on, sorry, Joe.
I think that's more aimed at us getting more professional help in to help with branding and content creation, but that comes back to, again, previously mentioned money.
That's something which we might be able to do. So we might be able to look at running. I know there's a couple of organisations which we can run collab with, and maybe put on some sort of workshops as such, where people can run through things. And maybe like a workshop on like social media stuff, a workshop on some content creation stuff. I know a few things around that, really. So that's one of my things which I'll look at doing, and we'll see if we can sort of put that on, really, and look at developing that. Community nights overlap dangerously close to tournament games, so looking at scheduling. That's a fair point. It's something which we need to do with some of the tournaments which we run, and make sure that around the other esports scene, there's a lot of esports tournaments running, so it's very difficult to sort of link up and sort of run all those. More effective social media and presence and branding. It also means to me what EsportsWales business brand in Wales isn't for just Welsh people. It seems like a lot of people understand that, but again, yeah, it's a fair point. Kind of saying that, when we're posting our community cup, saying that it's open to all. Be more supportive of players on your teams. I'm not sure where we haven't been supportive of players on the teams. We do try and run as much as we can for teams. We are running something like 15 teams now, I think. While all along got full rosters and stuff, it is sort of somewhere around there. So it's difficult to sort of support everyone as such, but there's a process for getting all social media out there. Is the game managers or team captains need to drop information in the. We have a channel in the staff chat of like when games are going to be played, and when the results are in, and any VODs or streams. And what we're able to do then is publish that. If that's not given to us by the game managers, we don't know teams are going to be played. So it's difficult for us to sort of support that side of things unless that's happening. So if that hasn't been happening, then let me, Joe, or another sort of of management know, and what we can do is address it. We can speak to the game manager or team captain and find out why that hasn't been posted, and sort of develop it from there. The particular vision, if you go on the website and there's something called Our Mission, there's got a strategy in that. You can have a look at sort of that side of things. If it's developing team talent players, there hasn't been much input from ESW in that regard. We are looking at doing some coaching or things. So it looks like there's a post, what's the plan for coaches? Are they looking at players at the top end to coach, or having a variety of different ranks? So the way we're looking at doing coaching, for example, just looking at SSL players or some low GC champs that can help Diamond Plat players. So we're looking at coaching, having like recognised coaches within sort of Esports Wales as such. So it wouldn't be saying that anyone can coach. It may be a case of what we do is sort of have that link. So the way we're looking at running coaches is the coaches would be paid. So it would be sort of around funding. So what we'd say is like we'd pay a coach something like 20 hours or something like that, or we would say up to 20 hours. So then they would go and coach this team or player to develop, and then submit a request to Esports Wales, and we pay them based on that. So it would be a sort of, depending on the players, we would have to sort of very much sort of not security check, but like, you know, to make sure the coaches are decent coaches, and be able to coach to a decent level. So we're not expecting them to be like top level themselves, but they should be able to coach to a high level. So where you're saying they would be able to sort of, you know, like a GC champ being able to help Diamonds, that could possibly happen. You could also have it that in some cases you could have a GC helping a higher GC player, because sometimes coaches in that regard might be helping the team play, and they might be able to sort of watch some of the gameplays and sort of, you know, find where there are issues within the game, and sort of, you know, give them advice and sort of how to improve. So being a sort of high level player isn't always needed for being a high level coach. But what we'd like to have for these coaches, as it's most likely will be paid, is some like background experience of coaching and development from that side of things. Teams should be reviewed every few weeks. What we tend to do is every season as such, or if there's issues. It's difficult to say every few weeks because the way tournaments and stuff happen. And if we've got a good roster, we'd like to stick with our roster. And, you know, people tend to, like with the CSGO, we tend to follow in the team now and been following them for, you know, 2 or 3 ESA seasons. And if you've been watching the streams and stuff, you know the players, you know how they play, and it's quite good to sort of see them improve and see them sort of, you know, move up tournaments or win games and that side of things. So I wouldn't say every few weeks. But there's definitely, I think, where there's issues arise and things like that, there definitely needs to be sort of reviews on that side of things, and it's giving people the opportunity. What we tend to want to do to be able to attract sponsors is run these teams to be able to compete in levels in tournaments, and to compete to the highest level they can, really. But we also want to develop the players themselves, so it's having that balance, really. So that's why we've got TAN, which is our sort of top level team, and then YAR sort of, which is underneath that. So you tend to have players from YAR developing, which hopefully will be able to fill the spots on TAN in the future, and sort of then players coming through as well to fit into sort of YAR and that side of things. Not sure the EsportsWales vision. Again, that's on the website. No, actually, I don't know the answers, which is fair enough. Which, yeah, you're welcome to speak to me. yeah, one of the things we are doing is funding. Cool. We don't normally, if someone's what we don't normally run is like a player playing for two teams. I'd say for a player to play for one team, it's down to if they're going to play for, not two teams, two games. One game normally takes most of the time, so it's very much for that side of things, it's very much you can only play for one team, because if you're putting in like 3 nights of practice for, let's say, Valorant team, and then you're jumping onto CS and then try and play CS for practice for 3 nights a week, it's just going to be like a massive nightmare. And then if a tournament comes up, it might clash, and it doesn't really work. So any players who are signing up to stuff, if you're playing for one team, and then one play for another team for a different game, then the way that works is you would have to pick one. And that's the review. You've had me waffling now for a good 2 hours nearly. So I don't know if there is any other questions. It doesn't look like there is any in the feedback channel. If you do have any questions now, now's a good time to drop them in. Do you have any anything sort of to say over the review from that side of things, Joe?
No, nothing to stand out for me. I think this has definitely given us a lot that we can look at reviewing ourselves and going back over, seeing if we can improve, especially if the people who've said like no on certain questions do want to come forward and try and assist us a little bit on figuring out what they feel is wrong or what we could improve on. But besides that, I think we've got a decent amount of feedback that we can actually use from this, as well as a very varied review. So it's not like everything is perfect. People are saying this is great, that's great, and then nothing really gets fixed with it. I think we have got a lot of stats on here that are going to help us to at least go towards helping things, and we can at least see what the community think we need more of. Besides that, I think that's pretty much everything from me on the review. I like for my thing, looking over the review, as you said, there's some good feedback. I can see Isaac's messaging about the female roster. It might be counterintuitive. I kind of agree. So the way we're looking at doing that, one of the things that come out is maybe having something like ladies' nights, to sort of having something which people can join in, and that's an inclusive night. I think teams will still run as we're running it, where we just have Tan and Yar, and anyone's able to apply for those teams. But it would be good to have ambassadors, I think, for sort of the minority groups, and having those where maybe that we run nights from that side of things. One of the things which to cover is be good to run some mental health nights, even if it's just chill games which people play, like Give It a Try, or just ARAMS nights and stuff like that, where people can just jump on and chat, and then maybe have a few people within the community who have some sort of like safeguarding and mental health training, who could kind of jump in, and if anyone does want to talk and things like that, we can also direct them then to some other parties like Mind and things like that. From like going over it quickly, I think the YouTube channel needs to improve, content creation needs to improve, website needs to improve. The link between us, like sort of the link between the teams and EsportsWales, I think by looking at some of the teams feel like they haven't got the right channels and that we're not doing enough to support them. I don't know where those elements are, but yeah, if we sort of know those, then that'd be great to help out with. But overall, I wouldn't say it's sort of fully positive, but I wouldn't say it's fully negative. It's just has addressed some of the sort of issues which we sort of need to look at, and
yeah, like from my side of things, I think that's a good side of things. I've seen, like, so you've posted about coaching. It's down to it's down to the sort of balance, really, and it's making sure that those players have those people have the ability to sort of do the coaching side of things and that experience. I'm happily speak to anyone. At first, we want to sort of get that down, and what we'll do is we'll sort of speak to coaches, people who have kind of done the role, and speak to people who want to apply for it, and making sure that the people who are in place as those sort of coaches, just making sure that they have got those sort of skill set to be able to do that role. Because what we don't want to do is people coming in asking for a coach, and then that coach not giving them the right information or giving them a service which sort of isn't great for Esports Wales or doesn't reflect great on Esports Wales. So that's where we are with the sort of coaching side of things, and sort of developing that. Yeah, I think that's it really from the review. Thank you for everyone who stopped by, and everyone who sort of commented and dropped in questions. Hopefully that sort of shows what we're kind of working on with the Esports Wales and where, like, the direction we look at taking it. If you still want to give feedback, feel free to either drop a message in the feedback and ideas. If you haven't completed the survey, please go ahead and complete it, because it's still going to be sort of used for bids and some of the sort of work taken out of it, and where we want to sort of take it forward. So if there are a lot of people who go onto the survey and maybe sort of vote things down or vote things up, that is going to make a difference to sort of how we progress and move things forward within Esports Wales. But yeah, there's a lot of good stuff out of this which we will take forward. So thank you everyone who stopped by. Thank you, Joe, for joining me. And we'll catch you all guys soon. So thanks all.
Thanks all.